All right, so what I've got here is what I call the XO simulator. XO stands for Executive Officer, so he's the logistical commander of a military unit. Now, what we're going to be doing with this is we're going to have these five different supply categories. Um, you're going to have a limited budget. You're going to have 5 days to kind of keep everything up above 70%. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this works. So up here, we got all of our variables are declared, and we have these four different arrays, right? So each of these arrays, you start with an index of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. They are all the same for each one. So like you have the supply cost 0, tells us that rations are 50, supply cost 1, 75, fuel 75, 150 for munitions, 100 for medical supplies, 200 for the maintenance equipment. We have this little string. This is just something that I put in. That way, it'll open up a little message box if you can't buy something at a given time. That way, instead of having to type it out later, I just type in the variable name. And I probably could have just done the same thing, but like I probably could have just typed it out down there. But I just felt like kind of practicing with setting these variables up. And these random events also line up as well. This is our little card deck for things that will happen. You'll see how that comes into play here in a moment. So when you started up, I wanted to make sure that you had something showing up on the screen, such as a bunch of blank labels with the default text. So here it'll tell you, use the day integer to tell you the day. And of course, you have the little text in there. This little dollar in front, that is what allows us to use these curly braces. If you don't put that in there, if you don't put that dollar in the front, it'll literally just take all this and just show it as one big message. So the N0 tells us that we're dealing with currency with 0 decimal places. For this, because we're working with percentages, the F0 is a float, but we don't want any decimals there. We want whole number percentages. Multiply that by 100, and that'll give us our whole number percent. And I can just kind of reuse this as long as you update 001122, so on and so forth. And the same principle kind of applies. So you have these different these click buttons, right, for each one, and they're all set up the pretty much the exact same way. The main difference, of course, being that the label that it refers to. And the index. So you have index 00000. So we know that that's all going to that same one. So as you click on it, that basically buys you 1% of enough quantity to gain you 1% of that readiness status. It'll deduct the cost of that supply from your budget, and it'll update the labels both. So if we go further down, we go to the end of the day. Functions a little bit differently. We got to go through and make sure that every supply category gets burned. So they have different rates for a couple of them. So the first one, soldiers got to eat about the same amount every day, no matter what. So you're going to lose about 3% there. Fuel, you're going to lose about 2%. Everything else, you burn off about 1%, and that's just through the natural day-to-day use. So after it kind of goes through, checks those, what it'll do is it'll look to see if it's gone. You have a category that went below 70%. And because only one category needs to, I actually was able to include that kind of in the same one. So, it checks rations first. So it's going down through this little iteration of I here. So if any of them, whichever the first one is that pops up as too low, is going to be the one that triggers it, or if the budget is below 0. Look at this little nasty gram right there. And if you are on day 5, you make it through the entire day, then great job. You get to go home and relax. For the remaining days, if you made it through the day, it's not day 5 yet, what it'll do is it'll basically do our little D100, right? D100 just means like a 100-sided die or a percentage dice. Now you have a minimum of 1. Now this max is exclusive. So you have an inclusive 1 and exclusive 101. That's how we know that it's only going to give us 100 out of 100. So if you get a number that's less than 50, it'll draw from the random event card deck. And this, we start at 0 is inclusive because it is an index, which means, or it is an array, which means that the index starts at 0 and it ends at 4. So even though it says 5 there, that's excluded. So it's actually going to give you 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you get that random event, you're going to lose about 25%. That way it gives you some sort of urgency. And then it'll update all the labels and get ready for the next day. So let's go ahead and have a playthrough. Now, if I don't do anything, I know for sure my rations are going to go down. Let's see. All right, so rats going to the emergency, we'll need to order more. So we got that random event did populate. So if we go ahead and complete task and end day, we get our failure state. So that we game over. All right, let's go through and go one more time. This time, we're going to make a few purchases, get those categories up. All right. So this one means that we're going to have to go through and purchase our munitions. Now, as you can see, munitions dropped all the way down to 60%. So we know that part's working. Let's get that way up. And we'll probably get some more these other things too. Just stay safe. All right. Got another random event. And we're halfway through the week. We're already burning through all this stuff. All right. Back up. Okay, so we made it to day 4. Cool. So that means so between D3 and day 4, we generated a number that was over 50, which means that we didn't trigger any of the random events. So go through, and there we go. So we've made it through. So we can see that we can both succeed and fail. And yeah, hope you all enjoy it. I plan on probably making some balance changes at some point. Probably, I don't know if I'm going to take away from the budget or just have bigger effects on your daily burn rate. But yeah, I look forward to doing some more as we move forward.